Alright everyone, so we have our self-portrait outlined in color, so now we're actually going to paint it. Before that, I actually want to do something to add some interest into the background. I don't want to take away attention from the portrait of me, from my self-portrait, so I still want that to be the emphasis. So I could do what Frida Kahlo did. I could draw some stuff from outside in the background. Today it's kind of raining outside, so I don't know that I would want to go outside to get ideas for that. But something else that might be interesting is if I do a texture rubbing in the background, so I could print some kind of a textured pattern in the background. So you could find something around your house, like a floor mat, maybe a rug or something. If you have a wall with a lot of texture, you'd want to be very careful about actually like putting marks on the wall or something. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take off my shoe. My shoe actually has texture on the bottom. You can see that there's a lot of texture. Oh, it's a little dirty. I went outside earlier today. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to overlap my paper onto it. So I'll have to hold it still as I do this. And I'm going to use a crayon on its side because I'm not drawing. I want to actually like fill in an area. So I'm going to try to aim it so I actually go around the portrait of me so I don't overlap this on me. Now I already chose a color that I thought would look good with the painting that I'm going to do. Plus, it's a color that it's going to contrast with some of the actual paint colors, some of the ones that I planned on using. So for instance, like, it's not going to be the same color as my skin because I don't want to hide myself in the painting. I want to be able to stand out in the painting. Plus, I already made my shirt blue, so if I make the background blue, that would kind of hide the shirt in it. So now that I've done the texture rubbing, I'm going to put my shoe back on in a minute. But here, you can see that there's actually almost like a pattern printed in the background. So I have something back there, but it's not going to take away attention from the painting of myself. Now what I'm going to do is use watercolor paint, and you can really use any water-based paint. The reason you want to stick with a water-based paint is because you want your crayon lines to resist the actual water in the paint so they won't get covered up. So we talked about that earlier when we were planning this out. So I'm rinsing off my brush, I'm tapping it out. Somebody else might have used it, got it dirty, or maybe I didn't clean it out the last time I used it. And then I'm going to apply some color to it. So I dipped it in the water, cleaned it out. I'm running it over the edge of the water container 2 times like we've talked about in class. And I'm going to get some orange paint on here because I outlined myself using orange. Now when I put it on there, it's like, oh, that's way too bright for me. It looks like I got a bad sunburn. So we know if we add some water, so I'm dipping my paintbrush back in the water. Now I've added more water, so I'm going to spread that color around, which will make it seem a lot lighter. Now the nice thing is here, a lot of people might think, oh gosh, you got to go around your glasses and stuff. But really, I can paint right on top of them because what will happen is the water will actually resist, or the wax will actually resist the water in the water-based paint. So as I move this around, I'm making sure that I go over everything that's supposed to be the same color as my skin. This looks like my brush needs to be reloaded. So I dipped it in a little bit of water, dipped it in a little bit of paint, and I'm moving around. So this is starting to look a lot more like me because I'm controlling how the color actually looks. So as we said before, more paint would make the color come out darker. More water will make it come out lighter. So if I think it's too dark, I can add a little bit of water. If I think it's too light, I'm going to add a little bit more paint. So depending on how large your painting is, this might take you a little while. So I'm going to make sure here, I need to paint my eyes. My eyes are brown. So I'm going to get some brown on the paintbrush here. Now what I'm going to do is just use the tip of the brush. So if I were trying to fill in a large area, I would press down more. But I'm just filling in a small area. So I'm just going to use the tip to add in that color there. Then that could go a little darker, a little bit more there. So then I can clean out my brush. And I'm going to start actually painting my shirt. My shirt is outlined in blue, so what color am I going to use? I'm going to use blue. So my shirt is actually a dark blue, so this is looking kind of light. So I'm going to reload with paint, and I'm going to add more of that paint just to make that color darker. Now those of you that did your hair, maybe you're wearing a hat or something in your portrait, this will take you a little bit longer to work on. So I'm just about finished, but you guys are welcome to keep working.